Hi,
Hi,
what's your name?
my name is Starisha Sky Wijaya, but people call me Sky.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'm turning 17 on October 23rd.
Where are you from?
I'm from Indonesia.
Tell me about Indonesia and the city where you live.
Oh wow, there's a lot to say when it comes to this. Indonesia. Where do I start? Indonesia is a huge country. It's the biggest archipelago in the whole world, and it's located at the bottom of Southeast Asia. The equator runs through the middle of Indonesia, so it's really hot there, and the climate is tropical. Thus, there are only two seasons, which are rainy and super sunny. Indonesia has over 18,000 islands spanning about 1.9 million square kilometers, and 281 million people live in this country alone. Not that kind of alone, but you get what I mean. Can you imagine just how big it is? Indonesia has 5 major islands. Sumatra, where orangutans and rafflesias live, and also where the best coffee is made. Java, where the big cities and most of the people are. Kalimantan, where most of the forests are and where the capital city will be moved to. Sulawesi, which is known for its well-preserved marine life with beautiful coral reefs and is also notorious for looking like a star with a ponytail. And lastly, Papua, where the gold and some of the most unique tribes are. Bali is a part of Java, by the way. I know that Bali is probably the most famous part of Indonesia, and people tend to overlook the rest of the country. But look, that is how small Bali is. If you've been to Bali and felt that spending a few days there isn't enough, imagine going through Indonesia and all of its 38 provinces and 514 cities and regencies, each with their own stereotype of people, cultures, habits, traditions, iconic foods, and dialects. I'm turning 17 myself and haven't explored most of Indonesia outside Java Island yet. This brings me to talk about the aforementioned cultures that Indonesia is abundant with. This is a musical instrument native to Indonesian culture called gamelan. The music it's meant for tends to be ceremonial and traditional, but now a lot of people make pop song covers using gamelan, and they sound amazing. This is batik, the famously exquisite clothing pattern that is worth more than your life when sold in foreign countries. Let me show you this. A dance called tari kecak that is a must-watch when you come to Bali. I recorded this myself while I was at Bali with my friends during the summer of 2023. It tells the legendary fairy tale of Ramayana, which is something like Indonesia's fantasy version of Romeo and Juliet. Speaking of traditional tales, Indonesia has a lot of that. Places like mountains, lakes, forests, cities, 1,000-year-old landmarks have their own stories told, dating back to the times where people can only tell stories verbally. In some places, people utilize leather puppets called wayang to help tell these stories. It's something like watching a movie, but the characters are shadows of the puppets. People still do that. It's one of the very well-maintained and aged traditions that Indonesia has. So, Indonesia isn't all about just how beautiful it is, but also how rich in natural resources and history it is, and its own way of incorporating modern technology into its ancient cultures. Let's discuss Semarang, shall we? After all, I haven't said much about my hometown. Let's pay a visit to Lawang Sewu. It's one of the landmarks of Semarang that the locals take pride in because of its age, history, and architectural prestige. Now let's get right into the many things I have to say about Lawang Sewu. Recapped. Lawang Sewu is the Japanese translation for 1,000 doors, which means this huge building allegedly has 1,000 doors. However, the previous statement is not true. It's just a way of saying that the building has too many doors to count. Believe me, Every single person I know who has been there lost count trying to figure out the exact number. I mean, Google says 928 doors, so let's believe that. It's quite fun to come there from time to time just to enjoy the artistic view of the well-preserved artifact, or for kids to roam around and count the doors and windows. Most schools also give their students a chance to tour over Lawang Sewu so that they can learn history. The place serves as a museum and heritage gallery now, so there are stories to tell with each vintage photograph or whatever media is provided. To shorten the stories, it used to be a head office of the Dutch East Indies Railway Co., or in Dutch pronounced
Nederlands-Indische Spoorwegmaatschappij.
during the 1900s after the first building had finished construction. When the Japanese invaded and the Dutch were basically kicked out, part of the building was recycled into a dungeon. Torturing, imprisoning, and executions took place there, hence the common assumption that Lawang Sewu is haunted. Then the Dutch visited a second time after Indonesia's declared independence, which is 17th of August 1945, to sneak into Semarang through a tunnel from Lawang Sewu, and a battle broke out, leaving the once beautiful building battered, blackened, and infested with rats. Aware of the sickened condition, a renovation was quickly arranged to put it back in its rightful shape. Lawang Sewu is now owned by the National Railway Company called PT Kereta Api Indonesia, or, well, translated as National Railway Company. Now, visitors are welcome, and the past is in the past. Speaking of Semarang, we are going to talk about its most iconic food. Just as Bali has bakpia or pai susu, Semarang has lumpia. They're comparable. We got this. Guess what this is? It's lumpia. Lumpia is some sort of spring roll from Semarang, not exactly from Semarang. It was a Chinese influenced dish, and I bought this one in the most legendary place, somewhere in Chinatown. It's close to a temple called Taigaksi, and it's also one of the most prided landmarks of Semarang. Now, lumpia can be filled with a variety of fillings, for example, chicken, shrimp, egg, or most popularly, bamboo shoots called rebung. And I'm going to try this out. It's been a while since I ate lumpia. And typically, lumpia comes with green chili peppers, but I don't like spicy food. I'm gonna skip on that. Just a tip. After eating lumpia, you gotta drink a lot of water. Bamboo shoots stink.
What are your hobbies?
I'm very passionate about ballet and contemporary dance, any kind of dance actually. I play the guitar and piano. I play golf and do horseback riding as well, although I don't do that anymore. I just like it though. And I'm absolutely obsessed with makeup, and I do a lot of art. Painting, watercoloring, calligraphy. I story write as well. I write stories and songs and poems. Anything art related, I love.
Where do you go to school, and what is school at Indonesia like?
Okay, so let's take a walkthrough tour of my school while I go over the details. Here in Indonesia, the curriculum changes a lot if you go to a national school. There are, of course, international high schools that make their students study A-levels, take IGCSEs, or use the Cambridge curriculum all in English. However, the school I go to, namely SMA Kolese Loyola, which translates to Loyola College High School, is a national Catholic school, one of the most prestigious ones in the province, which is something like a state of Jawa Tengah, alias Central Java. And I use the K-13 curriculum. This means I have to choose between double history and social studies, or double maths and nature sciences as my set of 16 subjects. I am a science and math-based student. So 4 of the 16 subjects I take are languages, which would be Indonesian, obviously, English, Javanese, which is the dialect of Java Island, and Mandarin, surprisingly. 2 of them are maths, 3 are different kinds of sciences, namely chemistry, biology, and physics, and the rest are sort of irrelevant. The grade below me uses a different curriculum thanks to the changes made by the current education minister. It is called Kurikulum Merdeka, or translated into independent curriculum. And there are 3 sets of fewer subjects you can choose from on the second year, which gives a lot more liberty to study what you truly like after being given a whole year to figure it out. As a K-13 student, I had less than a month to decide on which high school major I would like to study, so I barely had enough time to make up my mind. The 3 majors of Kurikulum Merdeka are biology and chemistry, physics and chemistry, and business and social studies. So, essentially, the sciences are split into 2. Upon my return from the exchange program, I will be joining the grade below me to repeat my 12th year and adapt to the independent curriculum, which is going to guide my studies.
Tell me about your family and home.
Okay, so let's actually take a tour of my home because you're actually at my house. And so I'm going to show you around, if that's fine with you. So I'm editing and I just realized probably it's not necessary to do the house tour. I don't have the time to edit all of this into the time span of someone's attention. So I'll just put up a photo here of what my house looks like, and here what my family looks like. That's it.
What do you hope to achieve by the end of the exchange program?
I hope to, and I will try my best to be able to fulfill my responsibilities as a Rotary Youth Exchange and a student and a good friend who makes a lot of friends and treats others well. I hope to be able to come back home with a lot of experiences, a lot of stories to tell, with an open mind and a more mature heart. And I suppose I would like to be able to dream bigger when I come home. That's it.
Dan ketutup anyway.
Apa?
Ke lock.
Okay.
Laptopnya.
Thank you.